such popular items to buy during the holidays, whether you're giving them as gifts or you want to get a deal for yourself.
But the choices and all the tech talk can be overwhelming. So here to help us figure out what to buy is technology expert Natalie Morales. Natalie, good morning.
Good morning.
Al's in a Natalie sandwich.
That's right.
Here.
Actually, you guys are the bread to my sandwich.
Oh, okay. Let's talk TVs. And tip number one, you say, is to look for a TV with at least 4 HDMI ports. So
That's right.
Explain to us what an HDMI port is and why do we need 4 of them?
Okay, the HDMI port is where you plug in your consoles, your cable box, your gaming consoles. I don't like to have less than 4 because I don't like to switch things out because maybe you have a Roku set-top box or an Apple TV, an Xbox, a PlayStation, a cable box.
The DVD player.
The DVD player, right. So if you're competing for those things and you have to reach around and plug it back in, that's dangerous. It's not good. I'd go for at least 4.
Right, and then you also want your TV to be at least web-enabled, a smart TV. And now, that you get, but why 120 hertz?
Okay, so that refers to the refresh rate, and you'll see that on the box, and some people are like, what does that even mean? This is the number that higher is better, because when you're watching TV, it's a series of images, so that refers to how often the image is refreshing. Faster is better if you're going to future-proof your TV so that maybe you can do gaming on it later or 3D on it later. You want at least 240, but 120 is also a good number. So make sure, if you're going to splurge on a number, that one is a good one.
Okay, now once you have your TV and you're in the market for a Blu-ray or DVD player, you say you want to make sure as well that it is web-enabled this time around, right?
Right, because then you can save yourself some set-top boxes because a lot of the DVD players now can stream media as well. So if you like to watch YouTube or Netflix or Hulu, get one that can do that. It uses your home Wi-Fi system.
Plus the other fact, a lot of times they update the software or the firmware on these, and you need that. And you also want to be able to be forward compatible and backward compatible DVDs and Blu-rays.
Exactly. You don't want one that can only play Blu-rays and then you isolate your whole DVD album. So most of them can do that. I think if you're going to get a Blu-ray or a DVD player, you should go for one of the gaming consoles because this year the Xbox One has a DVD player. The PlayStation 4 also still has the DVD player, so you're getting more bang for your buck, and that is also web-enabled for web TV as well.
And they play Blu-rays as well.
Yep.
Yeah, they do. Moving on to tablets, of course, the Christmas gift of the year, as always. How much storage do you really need when you're buying a tablet?
Well, you don't need a whole lot because tablets is something that we use to stream media, so you don't want to store a whole lot. But you remember that when you download an app, that takes up storage.
Right. Yeah.
So,
or a movie, because I know with my kids, sometimes their favorite movies I download, that eats up a lot of the video.
It eats up a lot, and then you have to keep erasing that. So I wouldn't
if you can stream, if you're on a plane, it's hard to stream.
Exactly. So I wouldn't go lower than 16. You don't need a whole lot more than 32. So that's not really the number to splurge on. I would splurge on the speed. So when you see the gigahertz number, that's the one you want to get the higher number because that means it's fast. So like you said, you're watching movies, you're looking at web video, you're looking at photos. You want that to be able to refresh quickly. You don't want to wait forever to open your apps. That's annoying.
So how high do the gigahertz kind of go right now with the tablets?
1.5 is a good starting area, and then again, the higher you can boost that number, the better performance.
And you also say you should match your tablet to the same manufacturer as your phone.
If you're using an iPhone, get an iPad. If you're using an Android phone, get an Android tablet because you don't want to make someone switch ecosystems. That would probably annoy me actually. I'd say you don't know me at all if you got me the wrong one.
Now your laptops, what should you be looking for?
Okay, so storage not quite as important on a laptop again because we don't store a lot of stuff there. Most of the time we're using the cloud, but I'd go at least 250 because storage is so cheap these days. So don't get less than that. RAM is the number that you're gonna want to really beef up here. So at least 2 gigs or more. So when you see that number, again, higher is better. Battery life is something I have very little patience for these days. I don't like less than 5. So, and even 5 is pretty low. Now you can get between 10 and 12, so I'd go for a higher number there.
If you watch a lot of movies, you want a high-resolution screen.
Yes, exactly. And high resolution is not the same as high definition. High definition is the industry standard. High resolution is like low calorie. You don't know really what it means. It's just higher than the last version. So go for either retina display or high definition.
Okay, finally over to the wireless speakers, and what should we be looking for here?
Okay, so I like the ones that have their own apps. We use this in my house a lot because my kids are into the Christmas music. So I open up the app for my Sonos and I'm able to stream it directly to, I can control the volume, skip the songs. That's really nice. But make sure you're using the right protocol because if the speaker says AirPlay and you don't have an Apple device, that's not for you. Bluetooth, pretty much everything can do Bluetooth. So that's a good one. But again, remember, if you see AirPlay and you don't have an Apple device, that's not for you. And then, you know, I would check the reviews because you can almost never really verify how good it is in the store. You can hear that.
And I imagine portability. I mean, if you're the person that likes to move your speakers around wherever you go, right?
Right. Yeah, there's some really great ones out there. You can get some good deals.
Morris, great information. I feel like I learned so much about tech, which I don't know anything about. Yeah. Coming up next, I'm going to get you caught up on all the news you need to get your day started.
Hey, okay, so you've thought about some food for your holiday table, but how are you going to present it? We got some pretty good ideas right after these messages.
On a platter. How else? That's what we thought.
And that's your latest weather, guys.
Thank you, Al. Well, in just 6 days, everybody's going to be coming over to your house for a Christmas feast that is sure to impress, we hope. You're not going to want your holiday table setting to be, you're going to want your holiday setting to be just as memorable.
That's right. Here to help you decorate everything from the buffet table to the kids' table, event designer, party planner, Jung Lee. Jung, good morning. Good to see you.
Good morning. How are you?
I like what you've done with the place.
It looks great. It can be overwhelming, though, when you have all these people coming over. So what's the first thing you tell people?
Well, number one, take it easy, relax. This should be really easy and simple.
Okay.
So what I like doing is use the things around your home during holiday. Ornaments, easy. Mixing bowls, just double stick it, put an elevation on that. I personally love birds and collect them. Simple little objects. I've got little porcelain birds, brass birds, and just some simple greenery to fill the center of the table.
All right, so you start with the runner here, right?
Well, what I love about this, Natalie, is these are placemats from My Drop, and they're disposable, and they sort of tear, but I'm using it as an oversized runner.
That's genius. Great idea. Okay, and then you say create the centerpiece, as you said, which you did with the things around the house.
It should be really easy and inexpensive.
And what did you do with the name cards here?
Well,
something unique, I noticed.
Well, I like name cards, and what I've done here is they're simple little tape.
Like
gold
ribbon,
tape.
right?
Well, actually, it's tape, which is really easy. Tape, and then I wrote, you know,
person's name on it.
Exactly.
Whoever's at your table. Okay, let's move on over to our buffet table. I think a lot of people like to do buffet style because it makes things a lot easier during the holidays. And you've literally elevated the buffet table to show us like certain aspects of the meal.
Right. What I like to do is here I've got a cake stand, a big platter, and another bowl on top. And so it's all about elevation, which will make it a lot much more visually beautiful, you know. So I've got mashed potatoes.
We're not standing away from you. There's only
I'm
this giant thing in front of
finding my way
us.
around this guy. So how did you decorate? What are the ideas here?
So here again, it should be very simple. I'm using a butcher block for the ham. So again, it should be easy, things that you already have in your house. You don't need to spend money. So look around. I've got vintage
tea sets?
Tea sets, but they're for my dressing for the salad. And again, it's about elevation. So I've got, again, another cake stand with some roasted vegetables because it gives it a height and it makes it so much more interesting.
The smell of the Brussels sprouts.
They are delicious.
Natalie's been picking at those.
All morning.
Unbelievable what she's doing. Now, what about keeping the food warm? You got any ideas there?
Well, my whole thing is let's keep it easy. Room temperature foods are fantastic. They don't all need to be warm. So that's my big trick that I do for my holiday.
That's good, right?
Yes. Ham is perfect, sauce, some rice, and then in this one, what I do is I love to set my table first, and then I like to sort of put out little post-its. So this is not a mistake. Here, I'm going to put my smoked salmon and pumpernickel toast later on.
It's a reminder to yourself then. That's
yeah,
good.
It's important. And then the other big thing is I know people want to put a tablecloth, and I'm about, you know what, I like to use my kitchen table or the counter, and I'm putting different placemats for texture because sometimes it gets messy when there is a tablecloth. So when you've got a placemat, you can easily just wipe it down.
Okay,
let's move over to the kids' table, John.
Let's not forget.
And here it's about being interactive, right?
Right. I mean, I've got 2 young ones, and I know you all have children.
Yeah.
So for me, I want to make it fun and keep them entertained. So it's those simple little placemats that they can sort of draw in.
Right.
Oh, that's cool.
Really cute, right? And then we love these like little My Drop. Again, they're disposable.
Fantastic.
Very holiday. And I stole this little idea from one of the restaurants at my children's favorite ones, where they design the cookie and then they bake it while you're having your meal. So it smells really great.
Oh,
so
wow.
here we've got little reindeer and snowman, and again, like little cupcake, you know, like inexpensive to fill the little decorations for your cookies. So there's our little reindeer with the little chocolate chip eyes.
Excellent.
Yeah, this comes after dinner, though, right? Because my kids would be like,
Yeah, you don't want to start there. Right.
Right. Well,
Jung Lee, great ideas. Thank you so much.
thank you so much for having me.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays to you.
Coming up next, why failure can actually be a good thing and how you can turn it into success. But first, these messages.
Job or an important project turns out to be just a complete flop.
And there are two ways to handle those setbacks. You can either dwell on them or you can then bounce back and turn that failure into success. More Magazine recently covered this topic, and Leslie Jane Seymour is the editor-in-chief, and Ish Major is a psychiatrist. Good morning to both of you.
Good morning.
Good morning. Leslie, as you mentioned, this is an article that you guys deal with in the current issue of More Magazine, and you talk about how failure often can lead to success if you use it the right way, right?
Right, absolutely.
Okay, so Dr. Ish, talk to some people suffer from, they have this failure, it's imposter syndrome. What is
Guys, way more than it does us.
And men always tend to blame something else. Whenever
Yeah.
a guy fails, they always sit there and go, you know, but he was a jerk. My boss was a jerk. It wasn't going my way. And women are like, oh my God.
After we experience a setback, because really they're setbacks, not necessarily failures.
Yes.
And you say that we should let ourselves feel a little bit of that devastation
Feel
after.
the devastation,
but
don't avoid it.
Don't be paralyzed by it,
Don't be
though, right?
paralyzed by it. But I think if you try to avoid it and pretend like it doesn't exist or you're just moving right through it, it's going to come back and bite you at some other point. So you can go with it for a little bit. You don't want to sit with it forever. Again, women tend to ruminate, don't they, more than men?
Absolutely. And so what you got to do is allow yourself to feel it.
Yes.
And when you get frustrated, let that frustration motivate you to kind of change your approach now.
But how long do you sit there before you start moving on?
Not. I'm going to move on. And sometimes asking your girlfriends to do that for you is helpful.
Sure, it is. It can be.
Find your support system, I would imagine. You said you find your girlfriends, but you also say be patient and don't worry about trying to be successful so soon thereafter, right?
Well, yes. I mean, women especially.
That you can't recover from.
Yes.
But then you realize it's not the worst thing in the world.
Exactly.
That's right.
Now we
Once
move
you've
on.
fallen, once you've fallen and gotten up, there's an incredible strength that's built from that.
Yeah, you're empowered by that. Leslie
Yep.
Jane Seymour, great stuff in More Magazine. Thank you, and Dr. Ish Major. Great to have you both here.
Nice.
Coming up next.